When Penny Pitou crossed the finish line to capture the first of 2 silver medals at the 1960 Winter Olympics, the young woman from Guilford, New Hampshire, became the first American ever to medal in the Olympic downhill event. Does it feel like 50 years ago?
No. I mean, I don't feel 71, and I was 21 there. So, you know what? I think I feel better now than I did then.
A half-century later, she's still tearing up the slopes, often at Gunstock in her hometown where her dad and others started the Guilford Outing Club. The Penny Pitou Silver Medal Quad Chairlift is now named in her honor. Pitou was a racing phenom as soon as she strapped on skis, and though she was kicked off the Laconia High School team because she was a girl, there were other teams in her future.
This was our team uniform. We got jackets, that was it. For 58 World Championships and 1960 Olympics.
Indeed, setbacks fueled her passion, and what would happen in the next few years was nothing short of amazing.
These are medals for just competing. This was 56 and this was 1960 Olympics. And then these are the Olympic medals, front and back. And these are World Championship medals.
The trail leading to the Olympics began on the hill in front of her childhood home. Now she lives just across the street, close to children and grandchildren, in a house full of their pictures, alongside those of a talented small-town girl who lived a dream but never lost appreciation for the community that set her on her way.
You know, I went to the Junior Nationals when I was 16, and there was no way I could afford $400 to go out. My parents couldn't afford that. And so Gary, along with many of the other folks in town, went around and collected donations, 50 cents a dollar, and collected $400 to send me out west.
Penny won both the downhill and the slalom at the Junior Nationals, thrusting her onto the national scene. Her mother suggested she try out for the Olympic team. She hesitated because she'd already missed too much school, until she heard that Andrea Meade Lawrence would be there. Lawrence had won 2 gold medals in 1952 and would become Penny's role model, mentor, and lifelong friend.
I wanted to be just like Andy. And she was there, and so it was in North Conway, the tryouts, and so up I went, and I watched how she handled herself with the other competitors, how she handled the press, but mostly I watched her at the starting gate, and I realized that racing wasn't just from the neck down, it was really from the neck up. That's where you win.
Penny tried out and made the 1956 Olympic team.
So I got a telegram, no emails then, and I got a telegram that said I was going to Europe on the 1st of November, my senior year in high school, when I was just 17. Pretty exciting.
International press covered the U.S. skiers training and competing. Life for Penny had shifted dramatically, but when she didn't medal in the 56 Olympics in Italy, she wanted to give it up. Andrea Meade Lawrence convinced her to stick with it.
And after the Olympics, I stayed on for 2 more months, and that's when I started winning races. And then I came home and went to Middlebury College for a year and tried out for the World Championship team. Barely made it, but went to Europe in 57 and didn't come home till 59, and that's when I started winning all the races that I entered.
Including the tryouts for the 1960 Olympic team.
In 1960 in Squaw Valley, it was a little more difficult because I was no longer a dark horse. You know, they expected me to win medals. It's much harder to be on top because everybody's aiming at you. It's much easier to be aiming at someone else.
Penny, number 1 to start, sets a blistering pace. She's been a top contender for at least 4 years.
The first race was the downhill, in a tricky airplane turn where a lot of racers fell.
I realized that I had to stand, and so somehow I stayed upright, got through the finish line, and then I waited for the rest of the competitors to come through. And I was beaten by a German, Heidi Biebel, and rightly so, because she slowed down before that turn and skied it much better than I did. But the big thrill for me was that the person doing the color on TV was Andrea Meade Lawrence. And it was the first live televised Olympics for America, so that my parents were watching it, and my father wasn't watching it because he was too nervous, but my mother and the rest of the family were watching it on our new TV, black and white, in the living room.
She won another silver that week, missing the gold in the giant slalom by only 1/10 of a second. And she fell in the slalom, so couldn't compete for the combined. But the experience changed her life.
Well, you know, they play the national anthem for all of us. And they played the German national anthem, and then they played the American. And I watched the flag go up and knew that I had put it there, and that was very special. Yep. Well, then I married Egon Zimmerman, who was on the Austrian team, and we moved to Guilford. They offered us the ski school at Alpine Meadows. I said, I want to go home, and he said, that's fine with me. And we took over the ski school at the then Belknap Mountain Recreation Area, which is now Gunstock. And we had 2 kids, Christian and Kim. Christian is 47 and Kim is 44.
Divorced in her 30s, she bought a travel agency in Laconia in 1974. There's another in North Conway. And for these last nearly 40 years, she's been taking people on hiking and skiing tours in the Alps where she used to race. For Penny Pitou, local girl and Olympic champion, making her way up and down the mountain is still where she is most at home.